Today we will be looking at by far the most recognizable and most popular Plants vs. Zombies plush set of all time. So yeah, today we will be taking a look at the Plants vs. Zombies Linxin Set 1 plush set. So let's start with the pea shooter. This plush is very iconic and is by far the most well-known Plants vs. Zombies plush of all time. Basically everyone has this plush and it's very well known, and it comes in 4 different sizes, being the normal variant, the big variant, the extra large variant, and the keychain variant. The normal, big, and extra large variants are all the exact same but just in bigger sizes, but the keychain variant's actually a lot different. The keychain variant doesn't have the little ring under its head like the normal variants, and also it has an iron-on mouth instead of just like a normal mouth. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the sunflower. One thing unique about this plush, it actually doesn't just have size variant, it also has a completely different variant. Most of the sunflower plushes that you'll see by Linxin have dark faces, but they actually made a version with a light face early on in production. This light face version of the sunflower has become extremely rare though, so good luck finding it if you want one, and I actually own this one, which is pretty cool. Besides the light face variant, there's no differences about the normal, big, extra large, and keychain variants except just for the size. There's also no known versions of a big light face sunflower, an extra large sunflower, or a small keychain sunflower with a light face. So let's move on to the next question in the set, which is the cherry bomb. Now this plush is actually surprisingly accurate to the second version of this cherry bomb in the Plants vs. Zombies 2 game. So yeah, in Plants vs. Zombies 2, the cherry bomb has white eyes, but in Plants vs. Zombies 1, the cherry bomb has yellow eyes. The thing that makes this plush weird though is that Plants vs. Zombies 2 wasn't even released when this plush came out, so it's really weird that Linxin decided to make the eyes white instead of yellow. But besides that little inaccuracy, these plushes are pretty good. It comes in 4 variants, being the normal, big, extra large, and keychain. One thing about the keychain though is that I have seen a lot of the keychains falling apart, like the cherry just comes detached from the stem, so I would recommend looking out for that while you're purchasing this plush to make sure to keep it in good condition. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the walnut. The walnut in this set is overall just pretty accurate, although it is just a walnut and it's kind of hard to get wrong. So yeah, overall this plush is pretty good because it's kind of hard to mess up a walnut plush. This plush comes in a normal, big, extra large, and keychain variant just like all the others in the set. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the snow pea. They didn't change much from the snow pea to the pea shooter. This plush just kind of looks like a blue pea shooter with spikes on the back of his head, which, you know, is just snow pea, so that makes sense. One thing I do like about this plush that they didn't have on the pea shooter is that it does have a glare in its eyes, unlike the pea shooter plush. This plush comes in a big, normal, and extra large, and keychain variant. And just like the pea shooter keychain, the snow pea keychain also has an iron-on mouth. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is Chomper 1. So this is the first design of Chomper and is by far the rarest Chomper ever made by Linxin. And if you're wondering why the Chomper has eyes and a mouth and a football zombie hanging out of its mouth, is because this plush was based off of this piece of fan art. So yeah, for some reason Linxin decided to base this plush off of some very specific fan art for some reason. I wonder if the person that made this fan art actually knows that some company in China made a plush based off of their art. I wonder if they knew that. But yeah, this plush comes in a normal, big, and extra large variant, so yeah, it doesn't even come in a keychain. So now let's move on to the second Chomper in this set. This Chomper is by far the most common and most well known in the set. Once again, this plush is based off of the same piece of fan art but without the closed mouth and the football zombie hanging out of it. This plush actually has 4 variants, being the normal, big, extra large, and a yellow spike variant. So yeah, all the other Chompers in this set have yellow spikes, except this one has white spikes, except there is a very rare variant that actually comes in yellow spikes, which only 2 people own this plush that have yellow spike. Now let's move on to the final Chomper plush in this set, being the third version of Chomper. Now this plush is basically the first design of Chomper, but without the football zombie in its mouth. Now this plush comes in a normal and a big version, but I'm not sure if it actually has an extra large version. According to the wiki, it does have an extra large version, but I can't find any images to prove that statement, so I'm not sure if that's true. And the big version of this plush is actually extremely rare. It's one of the rarest Linxin big sizes plushes to ever be made, and I actually own one of it, so yeah, pretty cool. Now let's move on from the daytime plants and go to the nighttime plants, starting with the Sunshroom. Now Linxin Sunshroom plush is just kinda weird. They got the head and body right, but they just made the facial expression weird for some reason. Even though the facial expression is just not game accurate, I still really like it though. This plush comes in 4 versions, being the normal, big, extra large, and keychain versions. A fun fact about the big and extra large versions is that they actually come with cardboard in the bottom of it to make the plush stand up a bit more. Now let's move on to the only other nighttime plush in the set, being the Fume Shroom. Overall, the Fume Shroom plush made by Linxin is actually pretty good. The face is kinda oversimplified, and there's a lot better plushes like the Dream CNC one, but we'll go over that set in a different video. But yeah, overall for a simple Fume Shroom plush, this plush is pretty good, and it actually comes in 4 sizes, being the normal, big, extra large, and keychain variants. Also, I have seen a lot of Fume Shrooms without like the top of the fume being on there, so yeah, be careful about moving this plush there because it could fall off. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, being the Squash. I've noticed that on the Squash plush, they actually could come in a lot of different shapes. Some could come in like really flat squished versions, and also some could be really tall. Some can also be like really defined, and some could just be like completely flat and like undefined. So yeah, it seems that Linxin didn't have the best quality control when it came to the Squash plush. This plush comes in 4 variants, being the normal, big, extra large, and keychain versions. Now let's move on to the next plush in this, being the Jalapeno. Now, the jalapeno itself is pretty game accurate, but the lily pad kind of makes no sense. Now, yes, I get it that it is supposed to be there for helping it stand up, but what doesn't make sense to me is that Linxin also made a jalapeno pillow without the lily pad on it, so why did they do that? And something that makes even less sense is that the keychain version of this plush doesn't even have the lily pad on it. But yeah, besides the whole lily pad thing, this plush is pretty good, coming in a normal, big, extra large, and a keychain variant. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, being the Cactus. One thing that I don't like about the Linxin Cactus plush is that it's just like too short and squished looking. I think that Linxin should have made the body on this plush longer because it just doesn't look accurate with a short body. But besides that, this has to be one of the most detailed Linxin plushes of all in the entire set. This plush has a lot of spikes on it, and it looks like they actually put a lot of effort in placing them. And it also has a nicely detailed flower on the top of its head with 3 yellow balls on it. Well, usually they're yellow. They could actually sometimes be white. Just like the Linxin Sunflower, this could actually be an extremely rare variant. So yeah, this is actually one of 3 plushes in the set that it comes in a different variant besides the size variants. And just like the Light-Face Sunflower, there's no big or extra large or keychain versions, none of the white ball cactus. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the Blover. The blower overall in this set is pretty good besides the dirt on the bottom of it. I do prefer the blower that does have the leaf base on it, but even though this plush doesn't have a leaf base, it still looks pretty good. One thing that I've noticed with these blowers is that sometimes their leaves are in different places. Like the leaves on the side of this plush could sometimes either be really down low or really high up, which just makes the plush look weird in certain ways. So yeah, once again, Linxin didn't have the best quality control of this plush, just like the Squash. Now let's move on to one of the rarest plushes in this whole set, being the Split P1. Now this plush is actually a lot different than the second version. For one, it's a lot smaller than the second version, and it also has those iron-on mouths just like the Snow Pea and Pea Shooter keychains. This plush also is the only plush in the set without big or extra large a variant of it. The only other variant of this plush is the keychain version, which is the exact same as this plush but just smaller. Now let's move on to the more well-known second design of the Split Pea. This Split Pea is more well known than the first design and is a lot more common than it. For some reason though, this plush actually has a really big leaf bases in most cases. It seems like Linxin just decided to make the leaf bases a lot bigger on this plush than the others for some reason. This plush could come in 3 sizes, being the normal, big, and extra large variant. The extra large variant is actually extremely rare, and only 3 people that I know of own it, so yeah, good luck getting it if you want the extra large variant of this plush. Now let's move on to the plush in the set that has by far the most variants of it, being the Kernel Pult. Alright, so let's start with the normal version of the Kernel Pult. This is by far the most common and well-known version of the Kernel Pult in the Linxin set. This version comes in a keychain, normal, big, and extra large size. Now let's move on to the second most common variant in the set, being the textureless version of this plush. The textureless Kernel Pult comes in a normal, keychain, big, and extra big size. The textureless Kernel Pult is actually a lot more rare than the normal version, so yeah, it still is gettable though. Now the third most common Kernel Pult variant is the shoe print variant. Now even though this is the third most common variant, it's still extremely rare and I've only seen it for sale once on eBay. Now let's move on to the fence print version, which is even more rare and only one person owned this plush and I've never even seen a listing of it. Now, even though this is the second rarest variant, I really don't like it. It just kind of looks weird with the gray and it just doesn't really make sense to me. So yeah, even though it's extremely rare, it still kind of just looks ugly. And now by far the rarest and the coolest variant of the kernel pult is the golden kernel pult. So yeah, Linxin decided to make a golden textured kernel pult, which is by far the coolest plush in this whole set. Sadly though, this plush is extremely rare and I probably will never get it. And here's just a cool image of a bunch of different kernel pult variants that I found, so yeah, pretty cool looking. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, being the marigold. Now the normal version of this plush actually has a dark face, but the more well-known version actually has a light face. So yeah, this plush kind of has an opposite thing of the light face sunflower. So yeah, in the sunflower, the light face sunflower is actually rare, but the light face marigold is actually more common than the dark face version. So yeah, even though the dark face marigold is the main version, the light face marigold was actually produced for a long time after the dark face version, which is why it's more common. I personally do like the dark face version of the marigold more, it just looks better. So yeah, there's 4 variants of this plush, being the normal, big, extra big, and the light face version. There's no keychain version of the marigold, which kind of makes sense because it's just a marigold and it's really not that important of a character. Now let's move on to the melon pult in this set. Now this has to be one of my favorite plushes in this whole set. For some reason, I just really like the Linxin melon pult, and I think one of the reasons is just that it was my first ever Linxin plush. It's just kind of iconic looking. For some reason, I just really like the face on it, and overall, the plush really just looks nice. Now, a cool thing about the keychain version on this plush, it actually doesn't have a leaf base, and it's just a melon pult head. So yeah, the melon pult comes in a normal, big, extra large, and a keychain version. Now, let's move on to the twin sunflower. Now, the twin sunflower actually has an extremely rare version of it, and this version is the extra large variant. I've only seen 2 people that own the extra large twin sunflower, so yeah, if you do want the extra large twin sunflower, good luck getting it. One thing I like about this plush is that Linxin added a glare in its eye, unlike the normal sunflower. I wonder why they did it to the twin sunflower and just not the normal sunflower. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the cattail. Now this plush of the cattail is extremely good. Now there is a little bit of details that are off, but overall Linxin got all the details pretty well done on it. And yeah, this was the first ever cattail plush, and even though it was just the first ever cattail plush, there's only one other cattail that's probably better than this plush. So yeah, for being the first ever cattail plush and it still holds up today, it's pretty good. And here's just a weird image that I found of just a cattail without the cap on it, so yeah, it looks really weird. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, being the gold magnet. The gold magnet plush is pretty similar to the magnet shroom, which makes sense because it's a gold magnet. It's just the upgraded version of the magnet shroom. For some reason though, Linxin made a gold magnet plush before a normal magnet shroom, which kind of makes no sense, but it's fine. This plush has a light green variant on the leaves, so yeah, this plush could come in a light green leaves or a dark green leaves variant, mattering on which one you get. Personally, I like the light green leaves more because it just kind of pops out more of the color. This plush comes in a normal, big, and extra large version. Now, something interesting about the extra large version is that there's only one image of it. And this plush wasn't even known to exist until December of last year, so yeah, this plush was very recently discovered. So yeah, I doubt that anyone watching this video will ever get an extra large magnet shroom because it only has one image of it. But yeah, good luck getting it if you want it. Now let's move on to the apple bomb. Now, this plush is just really weird. It's unknown what this plush is even based off of, so yeah, Linxin kind of based it off of something, probably fan art just like the Chomper, but it's unknown where the fan art is or if it even exists in the first place. One thing that I do find funny about this plush is that it has yellow eyes and the cherry bomb doesn't, so yeah, why didn't they have yellow eyes on the cherry bomb if they could have yellow eyes, and these eyes look accurate to the cherry bomb, so why didn't they put them on the cherry bomb and put it on this thing instead? So yeah, even though this plush seemingly has no origin to it, I still really like this plush and it's very sought after. This plush comes in a normal, big, and extra big variant. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is once again not an official character. The next plush in the set is Bursa, and unlike the apple bomb, we actually know where he comes from. Now, Bursa is based off of a fake Plants vs. Zombies 2 leak. So back in 2010, when Plants vs. Zombies was extremely popular and people were really wanting a second game, some people in China decided to create a fake Plants vs. Zombies 2 leak to try to become more popular or something like that. And with that leak came characters like Bursa. So yeah, here's a picture of the art that the people made to try to trick people in the Plants vs. Zombies 2 leak. And yeah, I really wonder why Linxin decided to go with this though. Maybe they were trying to like make some Plants vs. Zombies 2 characters to get their plushes more popular. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Now there are 5 variants of this plush, being the normal, big, extra large keychain, and this green top version. So yeah, the top of Bursa, there's supposed to be this black thing that like represents the hole that would shoot stuff out of, but instead there's this version that has a green version for some reason. I don't know why this plush exists, but I guess Linxin just decided to make a green one, so I don't know. The green top version is a little more rare than the normal one, but still not that rare. Now let's move on to the final plant in this set, and once again it's not an official character, the Garlic Angel. And just like the Bursa, this is from the fake Plants vs. Zombies 2 leak. So yeah, there's not much to say about this plush because it's just kind of a garlic but with wings on it. So yeah, I have seen some people cut off the wings on this plush just to make it a normal garlic, but I wouldn't recommend that because this plush is kind of rare, so I would not recommend doing that. This plush comes in 4 sizes, being the normal, big, extra large, and keychain versions. Now let's move on to the zombies in this set, starting with the basic zombie. Now, with the zombies in the set, Linxin actually did a pretty good job of making them. While they aren't fully accurate because some of them have shorts instead of pants for some reason, I don't know why Linxin did this because it kind of doesn't make sense for them to have shorts, but still, it still looks good. Now, this basic zombie plush comes in 6 variants, being the normal, big, keychain, extra large, blue short, and black shirt version. So yeah, for some reason they decided to make a light blue short version of this plush, but this plush is extremely rare and I've barely seen any images of it. But I actually do like the light blue shorts better than the dark shorts because it just kind of pops out more, it just looks better overall. And there's also a black shirt version of the zombie, which, you know, is just like a black shirt version of the normal zombie instead of like having a brown shirt. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the hypnotized zombie. Now, there's not much to say about this zombie because it's just the normal zombie plush but with a purple coat and a purple body. But still, overall, this plush is actually pretty good and it comes in 4 versions, being the normal, big, extra large, and keychain versions. And I also found this version with a brown shirt on, but I think the seller just put this shirt on the zombie because I don't think it actually ever came with a brown shirt. Now, the next zombie in this is the Conehead zombie. Now this was actually pretty cool because they actually changed the face on it instead of just having the normal face of the basic zombie like the hypnotized zombie. And I'm glad that they changed the Conehead's face because I think it just represents the plush better overall. This plush comes in 4 variants, being the normal, big, extra large, and blue short version. And just like the basic zombie, the light blue short version is extremely rare, so yeah, I've even seen less images of the blue short Conehead version than the zombie blue short version. Now the next question in the set is the newspaper zombie. And just like the Conehead, this face is actually a little different looking, but not as much changed as the Conehead zombie. The newspaper's left side is just a little smaller than the right eye, but it still makes the plush look more unique. And obviously the newspaper zombie has glasses and different shorts than the normal zombie. But interestingly, there's also a normal face version of the newspaper zombie. Personally, I don't like this version as much because it gives like less uniqueness to the newspaper zombie than the normal newspaper zombie, but this version is extremely rare anyway, so even if I do see it, I'll probably get it even though I don't really like it that much because it's extremely rare. And there's also a version of newspaper zombie which is extremely rare that has pink shorts instead of the normal shorts that the newspaper zombie would have. Now the next zombie in this set is the Ducky Tube zombie. The duck tube zombie plush is just a normal zombie with a duck tube on it, and the tie is actually made out of felt instead of just an iron-on. But other than that, they didn't change anything with this plush. There's also a more common version of this plush with a black shirt instead of a brown shirt, and this version is actually more common than the normal one. But by far the rarest of the ducky tubes is the light blue short ducky tube. Now this is probably the most common of the light blue shorts, but it is still extremely rare and I've barely seen any images of it. Now let's move on to the second to last plush in the set, being the Gargantuar. Now this plush is obviously really not that accurate to the game. Now I don't know why they made this plush with a red shirt and blue pants, and if for some reason it doesn't even have anything in its hand unlike the game, so yeah, this plush really isn't that accurate, but it's still pretty good looking. This plush also comes with a second tiny imp in the back of it, which you can actually take out of the plush. So yeah, with this gargantuan plush, it kind of comes with a little imp on it, which kind of counts as like a second plush. Now this version only comes in big and extra large, but there's also a variant of it with a red strap on it instead of a normal white one. But the normal and extra large versions with red straps are extremely rare, and the extra large red strap version barely has any images of it in existence. Now the final plush in this set is once again from the fake Plants vs Zombies 2 League, being the grass skirt zombie. And the grass skirt zombie is the only zombie made from the Plants vs Zombies 2 leak, and yeah, it looks pretty good from the art based off it, except for the thing that's holding in its hand not being on the plush. One bad thing about this plush though is that sometimes the clothes are stitched badly on and sometimes they fall off, damaging the plush. But other than that, the plush is actually pretty good. So yeah, comment down below what plush from this set is your favorite, and make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Plants vs Zombies, one of the most popular mobile games of all time. It's no surprise lots of merchandise was made for it. One of the most popular types of merchandise made for this series were the plushes. The company responsible for most of the Plants vs Zombies plushes are Linxin. Even though they are unofficial, they definitely made the most popular and recognizable plushes in the entire series. While most people know them for their first set of plushes that they made, they actually made many other sets of plushes like the one we will be looking at today. And now with all that said, welcome to a look at the Linxin Plants vs Zombies Pillow Set. Now before we look at the individual plushes, let's just look at some things about this set. This set had a very short production run, originally starting in 2010 and ending in 2012. Now since this set had such a short production run, all these plushes have become really rare in the following years. Every single plush in this set has about the same rarity. Some are a little more rare than others, but it's about the same. Now if you want to find these plushes, the most likely places you'll find are either eBay or Mercari, and if you find these, they will probably sell for around $50 to $120, and that's from the recent listings. Now before we get to the individual pillows, all of these could have a chance of coming with a car strap on the back of it, which should be latched to a car seat. The reason Linxin did this is unknown, but we'll probably never get a definitive answer anyways. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's get into the individual pillows in this set. The first pillow in this set is Pea Shooter. Now all the pillows in this set were obviously meant to be used as pillows, so none of them have stems or anything like that. It's usually just the head of them. And I think Linxin did a very good job doing this Pea Shooter head. It's obviously based off of the sprite in the first game, and when you compare it to that, it looks pretty good. Now one common thing in this set is that a lot of them have bootlegs made of them. The bootleg made of this pillow is a lot limer than the official. And the bootleg has a weird shape to it. You see, on the Linxin version, it has a nice defined shape to it, but the bootleg, it just doesn't have that. Linxin did a very good job making all the details correct on this pillow. They even added this extra detail on the snout here, which I find really nice. I'm glad that they did this because it makes the pillow a lot more defined. Now for the rarity, it's one of the more common pillows in this set, but that doesn't mean that it's actually common in general. Over the past year, I've only seen 2 pop up on eBay and none on Mercari or anywhere else. So yeah, even though it's one of the more common ones, it's only popped up twice in the past year, so good luck getting it if you want it. Now let's move on to the next pillow. The next pillow we will be looking at is Sunflower, and Linxin actually made 2 different designs of the Sunflower. The first design of the Sunflower looks a lot more game accurate. The first design of the Sunflower pillow uses the exact same style as the Sunflower plush. Even the petals are the same exact material on the plush. It's basically if they just took off the stem of the Sunflower plush and just made it a lot bigger. While the second design of this pillow is a lot weirder. For some reason, Linxin decided to change the eyes and add highlights in them, which is very weird because this is not game accurate at all. They also changed the petals into a plush material instead of that material on the original Sunflower plushes. I don't know why Linxin did this because the first design was perfect in basically every way. All Linxin did on the second design is just make it more complicated to make, and to be honest with you, it looks worse. Now for the rarity of these pillows, the first design is a lot more common than the second design. I've seen the first design a handful of times, but the second design, I could barely even find any pictures of it. It seems that the first design of the Sunflower pillow had a lot longer production line than the second design. And it makes sense that the second design is more obscure than the first, because all the second design is just a weird version of the Sunflower head. If you want either of these, you're gonna have to have a lot of luck because neither designs are common. I've only seen the first design of the sunflower pillow show up twice in the past year. One's on eBay and one's on Mercari, while the second design, I haven't even seen a singular listing of it. The first design of the sunflower pillow is around the same rarity as the pea shooter pillow, while the second design of the sunflower pillow is a lot more rare than the other two that we've already looked at. So yeah, good luck finding them if you want them, especially the second design. But yeah, let's move on to the next pillow in the set. Now the next pillow in the set I actually own. It's the only one in the set that I own, and it's the Cherry Bomb pillow. I'm very glad that I got this when I could, because it's the only listing I've seen in the past year of it. Now one of the first things that you notice is that there's only one head of the cherry, which makes sense because Linxin was trying to make a pillow and it wouldn't make sense to have two cherries on a pillow. Now there actually is a few bad things about this pillow. The main problem is that the leaf and the eyes are made out of felt, which makes it get easily damaged over time. As you can tell here, mine is pretty damaged, and yeah, it hasn't lasted too well over the years. But other than that, this pillow is actually pretty cool looking. This pillow is obviously based off of the Cherry Bomb plush and the big head. Another thing that I noticed about these pillows is that the car straps could get really bent out. The car strap on the pillow seems to be really stretched out, and I've seen multiple pictures of it also on other pillows of this set. This is one of the more rare pillows in this set, and it's not easy to find. But I gotta say, it's one of my favorites in the set, and I'm glad that I got it. But yeah, let's move on to the next pillow. This next pillow, there isn't much to say about it. As you can tell, it's just a big version of the walnut. I don't really understand why Linxin made this when they already had the extra large size of the walnut plush. It's basically the exact same thing, but with a car strap on the back of it sometimes. Even though this pillow is very simple, it's extremely rare too, and it's one of the rarest in the whole set. I have seen this pillow pop up 0 times on eBay and Mercari over the past year and even 2 years. I've never even seen it for sale. And there's even only one documented owner of this pillow, just showing the rarity of it. Even pictures of this pillow is obscure, and I had a hard time finding them for searching for this video. It makes sense that this pillow is extremely rare though. Due to a walnut being one of the more unpopular characters of the Plants vs. Zombies series, it makes sense that it probably undersold compared to others like Cherry Bomb or Pea Shooter. If you want this pillow, just look on eBay and Mercari, but there's probably no chance of it even popping up there due to me not even seeing a listing for the past 2 years of it. Now let's move on to one of the coolest pillows in this set, Chomper. The Chomper pillow is one of the most detailed in the set. It's clear that this pillow was based off the first design of Chomper due to them having the exact same features on the head. I really like how Linxin detailed everything on this pillow from the plush. They obviously put a lot of work into this embroidery on the pillow. But even though about all these positive things about the plush, there is one negative about it. The zombie in the Chomper's mouth is made out of felt, which is the same material as the Cherry Bomb's eyes and stem, which means that this zombie collects a lot of dust and other stuff like that, which you wouldn't want on your plush. And with that, these pillows have become damaged over the years, so it's hard to find a mint condition one. As with the Cherry Bomb, I've only seen one of these pop up on eBay from the same seller where I got the Cherry Bomb from. So with that said, I would say it's around the same rarity as the Cherry Bomb, but I found a little more pictures of it, so maybe slightly more common than the Cherry Bomb, but that's about it. Now the next two pillows that we will be looking at in this set are some of the rarest, if not the rarest in the whole set. The next two pillows are the Sun Shroom and the Fume Shroom, and the reason why I'm putting them together is because they have like the equal amount of rarity and the mysteriousness behind them. For years on the wiki there was only one picture of them that they could find. And for a while that's all they had to prove the plush even existed. There was no other known images at the time or owners of the pillow. But over time as people researched more, they found a few more pictures of these pillows over the years. But still, even with them looking a ton, there's still barely any photos of these plushes that exist. Now for the designs of these pillows, I really like them. At first glance, it might seem weird that they have big heads, but it makes sense because these were meant to be pillows and that's obviously where you would lay on them. There is one bad thing about them having huge heads though, and it's that over time it could obviously crush the bottom part of it. which could lead to the bottom part being damaged, which is not good obviously. Now for the rarity of these pillows, I said that both of them were equal rarity, but I actually think the Fume Shroom is more rare due to that having no documented owners, and the Sun Shroom actually does have one documented owner. So since the Sun Shroom has one documented owner, I'm gonna have to say that the Fume Shroom is a little more rare than the Sun Shroom, but still, they're practically the same rarity either way. If you want these pillows, good luck finding them due to them having only one documented owner on the Sun Shroom and 0 on the Fume Shroom. It's very unlikely that you'll find them, but good luck for anyone searching for them. The next pillow we will be looking at is the Squash Pillow. Now me personally, I don't really like this pillow that much. From the front, it looks pretty good, but if you turn it to the side or look at it from the back, it doesn't really look that good. Squash being a pillow doesn't really work because Squash is supposed to be 3D and this pillow is 2D, so it doesn't really work that well. To me, it's just weird to see a flat Squash in my opinion. But still, from the front, the Plush looks really good. I do like that Linxin slightly changed the facial design from the actual Plush itself. Usually in the set, Linxin just takes the Plush's face and puts it on the pillow, but Linxin actually changed it for this pillow, which I actually really like about it. Now for the rarity of this pillow, it's one of the more common in the set, but still it's very rare. I would say it's slightly less common than the pea shooter, but just slightly. It's still extremely rare and good luck finding it for whoever wants it. The next pillow in the set is Jalapeno, and this pillow is huge and it stands at 24 inches tall. For an example, that is 2 zombies tall, so if you get 2 zombie plushes and stack them on top of each other, that's how tall this jalapeno plush is. Now this is probably very easy for Linxin to make. The reason for this is because they already had the extra large jalapeno in production, and all they had to do is take the jalapeno off the lily pad and boom, they called it a new plush. Which to be honest with you, is pretty smart for Linxin to do that. I'm pretty sure that the jalapeno pillow is the biggest plush that Linxin ever made for any of their series, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Now for the rarity of this pillow, it's kind of like the middle part of this set. It's not the rarest, but it's definitely not the most common either. There's actually one on eBay right now and I'm contemplating buying it, so yeah, I'll see if I actually do that. The one on eBay right now is the only one I've seen in the past year, so that's why I call it a middle rarity. But yeah, let's move on to the next pillow in this set. Remember earlier when I talked about the sunflower having 2 designs? Well, the melon pole in this set also has 2 designs, and the sunflower and the melon pole are the only 2 in these sets to have 2 designs. The first design is just a normal melon pole head. All they did is take off the leaf base and make the head a bit bigger than the normal plush. Still though, I really want this pillow to be honest with you. There's only been one on eBay in the past year and it sold basically the same day it went up, which just shows you that a lot of people want this. Now for the second design, I haven't even seen one for my entirety of collecting on eBay or Mercari. And all the second design is just the first design but with bigger eyes. I really wonder why Linxin did this because it's really not that big of a change and it really doesn't do anything to change the pillow that much. It's strange that Linxin chose to do this, especially because the melon pole pillow was near the end of its production when they changed this, making the second design extremely rare, just like the sunflower second design. Just like the sunflower second design, I could barely even find any photos of the second design of the melon pole. It seems to have had a lot shorter production run than the first design, just like in the sunflower's case. And I wonder why Linxin only chose the melon pole and the sunflower to make a second design of. But we could always wonder, but we'll probably never know due to Linxin not existing as a company anymore. Now for the rarities, I'd probably rate the first design of the melon pole probably like one of the more common in this set. But for the second design, it's really rare and you'll probably never even find one. Unless if you're really lucky. And now we are done for the plants in this set, so let's move on to the 2 zombie pillows in this set. Now let's start off with the basic zombie pillow. The basic zombie pillow is actually the thing that made me discover this set at the first place. I've always wanted this pillow, but I've never been able to find it. And I did see one on eBay, but it sold at the same time as the melon pole did because they were from the same seller and they basically sold the same day that they were listed. I have to say, I've at least seen it with like 5 different people that own this, so it's definitely the most common in the set, but still, only 5 people own it, so it's still extremely rare in normal standards. As for the pillow, nothing much to say about it. It's just a zombie head, but a lot bigger. But since the zombie is the most common in the set and is probably the most well known, there's been tons of bootlegs of it made over the years. So yeah, be careful when you're buying this pillow because it's most likely a bootleg, but the bootleg's really easy to find. All it is just it has crossed eyes and it's a really light gray, so it's pretty obvious when you're buying the bootleg and not the real plush. So yeah, you probably shouldn't be tricked by this one because of how obvious the bootleg is. So yeah, now that we're done with this pillow, let's move on to the last pillow in this set, which is, in my opinion, the rarest in the whole set. The next pillow in this set is the Hypnotized Zombie Pillow. Now I gotta say, one thing before starting this section, it was extremely hard to research for this video and I was only able to find one image on Google of it. I know I did see another image of it with the original Linxin tag on it, but like, I can't seem to find that image anymore, but I know it's out there and it exists somewhere. But yeah, there are 0 documented owners of this, so the same as the fume shroom, and it just seems to be super obscure just like the fume shroom. So I gotta say, either the fume shroom or the Hypnotized Zombie Pillow are the rarest in the set. I have never seen this pillow for sale, and I don't think really anyone has, to be honest with you. Now, there is one extremely rare bootleg of it, and it's the same thing as the normal zombie but purple, but I can't really seem to find the bootleg except for one picture of it on the screen right now. So it seems that the bootleg is just as obscure as the normal pillow itself, which just goes to show that not even a lot of bootleggers know about this because the bootlegs weren't really widely produced. So yeah, I think I could confidently say that this is the rarest pillow in this set, or maybe the fume shroom is the rarest. I really don't know. But yeah, for the pillow, it's literally just the same exact thing as the zombie pillow, but it's purple. Yeah, there's literally like no difference at all. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, have a great day. Linxin is known for making the majority of the Plants vs. Zombies plushes that exist today. Linxin made tons of Plants vs. Zombies plush sets, but today we're going to be looking at one of the weirdest ones that they made. So with that said, welcome to a look at the Linxin Plants vs. Zombies logo pillow set. The first plush that we will be looking at today is the pea shooter logo pillow. This is a light blue pillow with a pea shooter head on it that has the words plants and zombies on it. I think this is a really cool plush because it's unique to any other plush that exists in the Plants vs. Zombies plushes. There are no other plushes that are comparable to this set, and I think that makes them really cool. The pea shooter on this pillow is the exact same as the pea shooter pillow, which we looked at in another set. One cool thing about all these pillows is that they have parts of them that are hanging out of the pillow. For example, in this plush, the leaf's actually outside the pillow instead of just embroidered on, which I think is a really cool detail and I'm glad that Linxin did it. There's also 2 variants of this plush, with the pea shooter head could either look left or right. That's the only difference with them though. You could probably find both versions on eBay and Zanyu, but they are extremely rare, so good luck finding them if you want them. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the sunflower logo pillow. This is a red pillow with the same Plants and Zombies text as the pea shooter. In the middle of this pillow has a sunflower head which has nicely embroidered eyes and mouth. The petals on this pillow are the exact same on the pillow plush and the normal plush of the sunflower. I think this pillow is probably my least favorite in this whole set due to the colors not really matching. I think they could have used a better color than red on the pillow because it doesn't really match the sunflower too well, but other than that, everything else is fine. Just like the pea shooter, I would recommend looking on eBay and Zanyu to look for this plush, but they are extremely rare and good luck finding them if you want one. But while you're looking for these plushes on eBay and Zanyu, be careful because there are actually bootlegs of this plush. Though I doubt that you'll ever find the bootlegs because they are just as rare, if not rarer, than the official plush itself. The bootlegs are pretty obvious though because they come in 3 different colors, red, blue, and pink, and the faces on them are just huge and they just look really weird compared to the normal versions, and they're also hand warmers, which you could put your hand in the pillow and it'll be warmer, so yeah, obviously the official Linxin version doesn't have that. Now let's move on to the final plush in the set, which is the zombie logo pillow. This has a yellow pillow, which for some reason kind of goes well with the zombie. I can't really explain why, but it just looks nice with the zombie on it. The text on this pillow is different than the pea shooter and sunflower, with it going vertical instead of side to side. The zombie on this plush has a huge head for some reason. I don't know why Linxin did that, because they could have just made it normal size and it would still look fine, but they did that instead for some reason. Other than that, all the details on the zombie are the exact same as the normal version, except on this pillow they actually made the legs stick out of the pillow, which is really cool in my opinion because it gives it a more 3D effect. This plush is extremely rare, and I think it's actually the rarest in the whole set due to the lack of images of it. I would recommend looking on eBay or Zanyu for this plush just like the others, but I doubt that you'll find it due to the rarity of it. My favorite logo pillow in this set has to be the zombie one, but comment which is your favorite, and make sure to like and subscribe and have a great day. Linxin is a company that's known for making high quality Plants vs Zombies plushes, but today I'm going to be talking about a plush set that is extremely rare and obscure. So with that said, welcome to a look at the Plants vs Zombies Linxin Phoneholder Set. The first plush in this set is the pea shooter. Now this pea shooter actually has a few differences to the normal Linxin pea shooter. First off, it's a lot shorter than the normal Linxin pea shooter. I'm guessing the reason that Linxin did this is because it's easier to balance on a shorter stem, because these plushes are meant to be phone holders and you wouldn't want the phone holder falling over, so they probably made the stem short so it would balance easier and stay up. The mouth is also an iron-on, just like the keychain pea shooter from the normal Linxin set. And besides that, not really much else was changed on this plush. One thing to note though is that all of these plushes are a lot smaller than their normal Linxin counterparts, probably just to make it the balance easier for the phone to stay in it. I would recommend looking on eBay or Zanyu to find this plush because it is extremely rare and you'll have a hard time finding it. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the sunflower. Now this sunflower plush is basically the exact same plush as the normal Linxin Set 1 sunflower, except that the stem is just a little shorter than the normal one. So yeah, that's basically the only thing they changed about this plush besides, the phone holder on its head. But yeah, they kind of just took the normal Linxin sunflower and just turned it into a phone holder with barely any changes, which is what they did with most of the plushes in the set. Also, all of these phone holder plushes came with a suction cup and string originally on them, covering up the phone holder, and you would have to pull the string out so you could open the phone holder. It is extremely rare to find any of these plushes with the suction cup still in, because most people pulled them out since they were supposed to be phone holders. So yeah, just like the pea shooter, I recommend look on eBay or Zanyu for this plush, and it's extremely rare and probably even more rare than the pea shooter. Now let's move on to probably the simplest plush in this set, which is the walnut. Now, I can't really say much about this walnut plush because it's the exact same as the normal Linxin Set 1 walnut, except that it just has a phone holder in its head. So yeah, it's basically the exact same as the normal Linxin walnut, except it's slightly smaller just to make it a good size for a phone. I am surprised though that Linxin stayed with the same Linxin design, because you think the walnut wouldn't stand up and it would fall over, which would be a bad phone holder. So I don't know how Linxin managed to keep it standing up straight, but in most photos it is standing up straight, so I don't know how Linxin did that. I recommend looking on eBay or Zanyu on this plush, but this plush is probably one of the rarest in the whole set, if not the rarest in the whole set, so yeah, good luck finding it. Now let's move on to the next plush of the set, which is the squash. Once again, I can't say much about this plush because once again, it's just like the exact same thing as the normal Linxin Set 1 version of it. The only thing that they changed about this plush is that it's slightly smaller than the normal squash, and well, it has a phone holder in its head. So yeah, that's all I could really say about this plush. Let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the kernel pult. Just like the last two, this is the exact same as the Linxin kernel pult. I know it's kind of getting boring, but yeah, it's just all the exact same. It's only a little smaller and it has a phone holder on the top of his head, which basically takes up the entire plush. So yeah, it kind of just covers up the entire head of the plush. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the melon pult, and I actually own this plush. So yeah, once again, it's the exact same as the Linxin melon pult, but yeah, this is the only plush in this set that I own, and it is a little smaller than the normal Linxin melon pult. But yeah, this is probably the most common plush in the whole set, so yeah, if you want any phone holder, I would recommend looking for this one because you have the highest chance of finding it. Now let's move on to the final plush in the set, which isn't just the exact copy of a Linxin plush. This is the zombie head. So yeah, instead of having a whole zombie plush, they just decided to go with the zombie head, which I think is a pretty good option because it stands up quite well because it has cardboard in the bottom of it, which makes it stand nicely. His head is also a little flatter just to, keep the phone holder there, and also just to make the plush look nicer. But yeah, all the details on the zombie head is the exact same as the normal Linxin zombie. But yeah, this plush is probably the rarest in the whole set, and I've only ever seen one listing of it, so good luck finding it. So yeah, sorry that this video was kind of repetitive, because it was all just like the exact same normal Linxin versions, but just with a phone holder on it. But yeah, Linxin didn't put much effort into this set. But yeah, my favorite plush in the set is probably the melon pole, but also I kind of just own that one, so I might be a little biased towards that. But yeah, comment down below what your favorite plush in the set is. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and have a great day. Linxin is a well-known company that makes Plants vs. Zombies plushes. They're mostly known for making their first set of Plants vs. Zombies plushes, but they also made tons of other plush sets like the one we'll be looking at today. So with that said, welcome to a look at the Linxin Plants vs. Zombies 1 Set 2 plush set. Now, their first plush set that they made had tons of characters, but this one only has 5 in it. The first plush in the set is the Cabbage Pult. This plush has a light green head and a dark green leaf base. On the head they have stitched eyes and eyebrows on the plush. This plush also has multiple layers of the inside of it. There are a few other plushes that use this gimmick like the iceberg lettuce. I'm glad that they added these extra layers to the plush because it's a really nice detail within it. Now for the rarity of this plush is really common and you could find it on eBay most of the time. A good price for this plush would probably be around $10 to $15 because it's quite common and pops up a lot on eBay. If you don't have this plush, I would definitely recommend buying it because it's pretty good quality and it's quite a common plush for a cabbage pult. So let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the winter melon. The winter melon is a very simple plush in the set, with it just being the normal melon pult but with a blue head. This plush also seems to have a darker leaf base and stem than the original melon pult, but that's about all they changed for this plush. Even though they barely changed any details from the original melon pult, I still really like this plush. Now if you want this plush, it's a similar rarity to the cabbage pult. A good price for it would be $10 to $15 because it is quite common. I would definitely recommend getting this plush because it's just a nice plush to have and it's quite good quality. So yeah, let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the magnet shroom. Now this is a really good plush. This plush just has a normal dirt base with a stem on it connecting to the magnet. This plush is really nicely detailed and Linxin did a great job with it. Everything on this plush is correct and I don't actually have this plush, so I really want it because it's very well detailed. An interesting thing about this plush is that it actually could come with a Linxin tag. Now usually these plushes in the second set only come with a folded made in China tag, but this one actually could come with a Linxin tag, but it's extremely rare for that to happen. And it's the only plush in the set that actually could come with the Linxin tag. Now for the rarity of this plush, it's a little more rare than the cabbage pult and the winter melon pult. I would recommend looking on eBay for this plush and it could probably sell for around $20 to $30 because it is a little more rare. So yeah, let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the Doom Shroom. Now this plush is by far the most uncreative in this whole set. Linxin just used the pattern for the Sun Shroom and just turned the whole plush gray and stitched eyes onto it. I don't know why they did this because the normal Doom Shroom design's easy enough to make, it just has like a gray base and a black head. So I don't know why Linxin made the whole plush gray, it really doesn't make sense. Now this plush is a little more rare than the Magnet Shroom. I would recommend looking on eBay for it. It could probably sell for around $20 to $30 mattering on the condition of it. So yeah, let's move on to the last and my favorite plush in this whole set. The last plush in this set is the only zombie, the guitar zombie. Now most people own the red-haired version of the guitar zombie, but that's actually the second design. The first design is this one, which has black hair. Now this plush is really nicely detailed. The clothes on it are a nice maroon color and in his left hand is holding its guitar. Now unlike the second design of the guitar zombie, the first design of the guitar zombie with black hair is extremely rare. I would recommend looking on either eBay or Zanu for this plush because that's basically the only place this plush shows up. Now good luck getting this plush because this plush was only produced for a very short amount of time because the second design guitar zombie quickly replaced it. Now I don't really know a good price for this plush because it sells for all different prices, so yeah, just pay what you would want for it. So yeah, this is my favorite plush in this whole set, but what was yours? Comment that down below, and yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and have a great day. The majority of Plants vs. Zombies sets made by Linxin were based off of the first Plants vs. Zombies game, but today we're looking at one of the few sets that they made based off of the Plants vs. Zombies 2. So with that said, welcome to a look at the Plants vs. Zombies Linxin Set 3 Plush set. The first plush in this set is the Bloomerang. Now there are actually two versions of this plush with slight differences, being that the normal one has a dark green body and some variants have a light green body, but that's about all they changed on this plush with the variants. This plush has a normal green leaf base and a normal green body either in lime green or dark green. The face is also pretty similar to the Melon Pole's face, just without the eyebrows on it. The top of this plush could either be a light blue or a dark blue color, mattering on which release you guys, kinda random based on what release. The boomerangs themselves are made out of this weird white material and it has a little yellow band around it, which is kind of like a stickery material. Overall, I think Linxin did a pretty good job at making this plush. It's not fully accurate and there are better boomerang plush, but overall this plush is pretty good. And if you want this plush, it's pretty common, so you could probably find it on eBay or Mercari at any time. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the Bonk Choy. Just like the Bloomerang, this plush has two variants, being the dark green variant and the light green variant. The two variants don't really have any differences, but just besides like the color of the skin. An interesting thing about this plush's arms is that it actually has metal inside of it, so like their arms stick up better instead of just being floppy, because if it didn't have metal in it, the arms wouldn't stick up. Also on the top of his head, he has like nice definition and detail, and there's multiple layers to the thing on the top of its head. The top of the arms also have extra definition with a little bit of other material up there. Overall, just like the Bloomerang, Linxin did a pretty good job making the Bonk Choy. But I don't know why that they made a dark green variant. Like in the game, the plush is supposed to be light green, but they for some reason made a dark green variant. But either way, the plush is still really good. Just like the Bloomerang, this plush is really common and you can find it on eBay and Mercari at like any time. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the Chili Bean. For some reason, Linxin decided to make the Chili Bean orange, even though that's not accurate to the game, but Linxin did fix this later in a different set when they made a maroon Chili Bean, but that's in a different set, we'll talk about that in the next video. This plush overall is pretty good. The details on the face are all there, and it just looks pretty nice, and also on the top it has the little stem that the bean has. Overall, everything on this plush is pretty good except for the color of it, but they changed that in a different set. And just like the other two we already looked at, this plush is pretty common and you could find it on eBay and Mercari. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the Coconut Cannon. And overall, Linxin actually did a pretty good job making this Coconut Cannon plush. They definitely got the correct shape on the Coconut Cannon, and the front of the cannon is made out of this hard iron-on material. The eyes and eyebrows are nicely stitched on and have a nice material inside of them. This plush has two coconuts on the side of it, which are made out of this like felt material, and it has little iron-on dots on it to make the coconuts look more detailed. And it also has these felt leaves on top of it, but the felt leaves could actually fall off, so I'd be careful with them. They also have a piece of felt on the top of the plush to represent where the coconut can would be lit to ignite. Overall, this is probably one of the most detailed plushes in this whole set, and it is pretty common and you can find it on eBay and Mercari. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the Iceberg Lettuce. Now this whole entire plush is made out of the same color, being a light blue material. The only really detail they put on this plush are the eyes and the extra definition, just like the Bonk Choy's head. As you can see on the sides of the iceberg, you can see little like things that you could open up and you could look inside of them. I'm glad Linxin added the detail there, because this plush is just pretty simplistic without it. Overall, there isn't much to say about this plush because it's kind of just really simplistic and there's just not much to talk about. This plush is really common, you can find it on eBay and Mercari really easily. Now let's move on to the final plant plush in the set, being the Imitator. This is actually the only Imitator plush, and we only have a plush of the Imitator based off of the Plants vs. Zombies 2 design. There's no Plants vs. Zombies 1 design of the Imitator in a plush. Linxin did an okay job with this. The face is gray and the face is just overall accurate with the expression on it, and it has a little green hat on the top of it, which is also accurate. One thing that makes no sense on this plush is that for some reason Linxin gave it arms, even though in the game it isn't supposed to have arms, so I don't know why they did that. But besides them adding arms to the plush for no reason, the plush is just pretty good. The arms on this plush could also get beat up because it's just made out of felt and could get bent really easily and get debris on it. This plush is also really common, you can find it on eBay and Mercari. Now let's move on to the first zombie plush in the set, being the Buckethead Mummy Zombie. Now this plush is just really weird because it isn't accurate to the game at all. The clothes and everything are accurate, but the face, they just kind of made it for no reason. Like, the face isn't accurate to the game at all. In the game, it's just a normal zombie, but for some reason they gave it red eyes and this weird face. This is probably based off of fan art, just like some other plushes in the game, like Versa, but they also did that in other plushes, so I wouldn't be surprised if it was just based on fan art. But yeah, the whole entire plush is white, and this plush can actually get really dirty really easily, so you have to be careful with it because the whole plush is white and it can get easily stained. The bucket could also get beat up because it's just made out of felt with some iron on it to add the detail to it. He also has a felt ring on the side of his head. He has dark red eyes with a lighter red pupil, and also has this like face which is like kind of like frowning. Also, all of his teeth are just really spiky for some reason. I do like this plush, but it isn't accurate to the game at all, but even though it's not accurate, I still do really like it. You can pretty easily find this plush on eBay and Mercari. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the cowboy zombie. This plush uses the same design as a normal zombie, but it just has features that makes it a cowboy zombie. They changed the feet onto the zombie to have cowboy boots instead, and they added the purple bandana around it with white dots on it. They also gave him red shorts, a light brown coat, and a dark brown hat. The hat can get really beat up really easily and get damaged because it's only made out of felt with a black iron line around it. This plush is overall pretty good and nicely detailed. You could pretty easily find it on eBay and Mercari just like the others. Now let's move on to the next plush set, which is the guitar zombie. This plush is wearing all maroon clothes and has a felt guitar which could get easily damaged, and also I've seen many plushes without the guitar because it could fall off really easily because it's not really stitched on that well. This plush uses a normal zombie face just without the lines on top of his head because it's covered with hair instead. This is also one of the only plushes that actually have hair on the zombie. He also has light orange hair, but on a different release of this plush in a different set, he has black hair, which is much rarer than this version. So yeah, technically this is the second design of the guitar zombie because the black hair version came out before this one. But unlike the black hair guitar zombie, this plush is actually pretty common. You could find it on eBay. Now let's move on to the final plush in this whole set, being the pirate zombie. And just like the Buckethead Mummy Zombie, I'm guessing this is probably based off fan art because it's not accurate to the game at all. This plush also has the same coat as the Cowboy Zombie and has light blue pants that has holes in them to add like the destroyed like detail to them. The zombie is actually green instead of the normal gray, which is also an inaccuracy about this plush. He has a small earring on the side of his head and it has a bandana on it that is usually black, but it could also come in a blue variant. But even though this isn't accurate to the game, just like the Buckethead Mummy Zombie, I still really like this plush and it's really good looking. This plush is common like all the others in this set, and you can find it on eBay and Mercari. So yeah, comment down below what your favorite plush in this set is, and yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and have a great day. Linxin's Plants vs. Zombies plushes are by far the most popular and recognizable Plants vs. Zombies plushes to ever be made, but today we're going to be looking at their final set that they made before getting shut down. So with that said, welcome to a look at the Plants vs. Zombies Linxin Set 4 plush set. The first plush in this set is the Potato Mine. Now the Potato Mine that Linxin made is actually really good. The top of this plush is made out of felt, and the felt is also used on the dirt on this plush. The dirt on the bottom of this plush also kind of folds over the plush sometimes, so yeah, that could be a little annoying on this plush. The eyes and mouth are nicely embroidered onto the plush, and that's really all there is to say about this plush. It's pretty simplistic. But even though it is really simplistic, Linxin still did a great job making this plush. This plush is pretty rare, and you'll probably be able to find it on eBay for like $30. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the Snapdragon. Now this plush is one of the most detailed in the whole set, especially on the face. This plush has 6 felt teeth and has an embroidered nose and mouth on this plush, which is really detailed, especially on the nose. The eyes are also the accurate colors, and it has a little fold covering the eyes a little bit. The fur on the side of his face is made out of felt, and the spikes on the back of him are also made out of felt. And yeah, overall this plush is really detailed and really nicely made, and it's probably the best Snapdragon plush to be made. This plush is really rare though, and you'll probably be able to find it on eBay or Mercari for like $35 to $40. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the Lightning Reed. Now the Lightning Reed is probably the most inaccurate and strangest plush in the whole set. For some reason, Linxin didn't decide to make a white lightning reed. Instead, they put a blue on top of it, which doesn't really make any sense because the lightning reed isn't blue in the game. But even though it isn't accurate to the game, I still really like this plush because it is pretty nice and it's also unique. This plush has the same dirt base as plushes like Blover and Gold Magnishroom, and the leaves hanging off this plush are also made out of felt. I like how Linxin added like a little bend in the stem on this plush, which is also accurate to the game. It gives it a bit more detail. The stitching is also really good on the eyes and eyebrows. Overall, even though this plush isn't accurate to the game at all, it's still pretty good. This plush is really rare though, and you'll probably find on eBay or Mercari for like $35. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the laser bean. Now this plush is the same exact shape as like the chili bean, except they just removed like the chili bean details and made it a laser bean instead. The antenna on this plush is made out of felt, and it could get bent really easily, and it could get damaged, and it also could collect debris on it, so yeah, be careful with that on this plush. Linxin did a good job doing the stitching on this plush with the eyes and the mouth, and it just makes the plush look accurate to the game. And that's really all there is to say about this plush. Just like the potato mine, it's a pretty simple plush, but yeah, it's still really good. You could probably find it on eBay or Mercari for like $30. Now let's move on to the next plush in this set, which is the Citron. Now this plush is probably one of the best in the whole set. This plush's leaf base is only unique to this plush. No other Plants vs. Zombies plush uses the same leaf base, which already makes this plush pretty unique. Now the head on this plush is just an orange circle with a felt mouth with a little black dot in the middle, and Linxin did a good job making the embroidery on the eyes and the eyebrows. And on the inside of the eyes there's a felt material, which could get damaged though, so it's probably not for the best. Another bad thing about this plush is that the mouth could be really off-centered sometimes. Like sometimes the black dot in the middle, which is supposed to be in the middle, isn't in the middle, so it could make the plush look a little weird sometimes. But besides that, this plush is really good. I recommend looking on eBay and Mercari for this plush, so it could sell for like $35 to $40, depending on the condition of it. Now let's move on to the rarest plush in this whole set, which is the maroon chili bean. Now Linxin made an orange chili bean in the last set that they made, but they actually made a more accurate version, which is the maroon chili bean. It's the exact same plush as the orange chili bean, except that they just changed the color a bit. One weird thing about this plush though is that it's extremely rare for some reason. It seems like Linxin didn't produce a lot of these, and it seems like they stuck with the orange chili bean more for the maroon chili bean. So yeah, if you want this plush, good luck finding it. I recommend looking on either eBay or Zanu for this plush, but it's very unlikely that it'll show up. Now let's move on from the normal Plants vs. Zombies 2 plushes and go into the Plants vs. Zombies 2 Chinese edition plushes. So the next plush in this set is the bamboo shoot. Now this plush actually has two variants, being the dark dirt variant and the light dirt variant. Like that's literally all they changed about this plush, just the color of the dirt. So yeah, no other changes were made about this plush. But overall, this plush is actually really nicely detailed and really accurate. Now the top of this plush has nicely embroidered lines on it, which makes the plush look more detailed and more accurate. The face is also nicely embroidered on it. It makes the plush look very detailed and is very accurate to the game. The dirt on this plush could actually get really damaged because it's made out of felt, and even on mine there's a little bit of damage, so I recommend being careful with that. Also, they added a second layer to this plush on the face here. There's a little second layer on it, which is a really nice detail by Linxin to make. So yeah, overall this is one of the best plushes in this whole set and one of the most detailed plushes in this whole set. This plush is extremely rare though in both variants, so I recommend looking at eBay or Mercari for this plush. Now let's move on to the next plush in the set, which is the fire gourd. Linxin did a good job on the embroidery on this plush and got all the details correct with the face, and I like that they added even like the little dots under his eyes to represent his red cheeks in the game. The stem on this plush is made out of a felt material with a yellow sticker on it to make the plush more accurate, but this detail could get ruined and the sticker could crack really easily and the felt could get damaged really easily too, so I recommend being careful with that. And the leaf is made out of a normal plush material and is nicely detailed. And yeah, that's all there really is about this plush. It's just really the face on the top of this plush. No other part of this plush is really detailed. Now let's move on to the second to last plush in the set, which is the Heavenly Peach. Now the leaves on the bottom of this plush are made out of a felt material and they could get easily damaged just like all the other felt on the plushes. Linxin did a good job making an accurate shape, and they did a good job on the embroidery on the eyes and making it all look accurate. And that really all there is to say about this plush. Just like the potato mine and the laser bean, it's a pretty simplistic plush, and there's not many details that they had to put on this plush. Now let's move on to the final plush in this whole set, which is actually a power-up in the game, the Tactical Cuke. Now instead of actually being a plant in the game, this plush is actually based off of a power-up in the Plants vs. Zombies 2 Chinese Edition, which could blow up and destroy like all the zombies on the whole map. And I think Linxin did a really good job with this plush, and they got like the face really accurately detailed. Linxin got the shape right and got all the nice embroidery on the face and made the face look really accurate to how it is in the game. Like, the face is literally spot on. There's really no bad details about this plush. This plush is basically perfect to the in-game counterpart. So yeah, which plush is your favorite in this whole set? Mine's probably the bamboo shoot, but comment your favorite down below in the comment section. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and have a great day.